What makes it so painful is that most people are aware of it, but they can't stop it when it matters. Logic just doesn't work. So breaking it isn't about thinking your way out of it in the moment. It's about training the brain before it actually happens. Rejection Sensitive Dysphoria, or RSD, is an intensely emotional reaction to a perceived criticism or failure. And the key word there is perceived, because it doesn't have to actually be happening. For people with ADHD or ASD, the brain is wired to scan for threat, fill in gaps and amplify meaning. So something small like a look, a tone, or a delayed message can feel deeply personal, overwhelming, and absolute. Now, this isn't a weakness, it's a pattern the brain has learned to run automatically. So what's actually happening in the moment when someone experiences RSD is that it happens fast. There's a trigger, an interpretation, an emotional surge, and then a reaction. And the issue sits in that interpretation step. The brain jumps to conclusions like, I've done something wrong, they don't like me, I'm not good enough. And once that meaning is assigned, the body follows. Heart rate increases, tension rises, the urge to react actually kicks in. And at that point, logic just doesn't work. So breaking it isn't about thinking your way out of it in the moment. It's about training the brain before it actually happens. Why does this have such a big impact on people's lives? Because it drives behaviours that are designed to protect. But in reality, what happens is it actually creates the opposite outcome. People withdraw, they avoid opportunities, they overreact, or they start to people please. And over time, that leads to disconnection, conflict, and missed opportunities. What makes it so painful is that most people are aware of it, but they can't stop it when it matters. So what happens is they get stuck between knowing and being able to change. So how does mind shift mentors and cognitive pattern reprogramming help? We don't try to talk people out of it. We go to the level where the pattern actually lives, the subconscious processing system. Through cognitive pattern reprogramming, we help the brain to separate thoughts from emotions, to reduce internal noise and recalibrate the threat response and build automatic regulation instead of reaction. And the key here is repetition, because by listening regularly, the brain starts to interpret differently. The brain starts to say calmer and respond instead of react. So what we're doing is we're not managing the system, we're changing the pattern that creates it. So if someone starts today, what can they expect in 3 weeks? 3 weeks isn't magic, but it's powerful. What most people notice is less intensity in their reactions, more space between the trigger and the response, and a growing sense of control. Things that used to feel personal start to feel clearer. They start to feel more neutral. Now, they're not fixed overnight, but they're no longer stuck in the same loop, and that's the shift. When someone realises this isn't me running anymore, I'm starting to run this,